Hey YouTube, welcome back to a brand new Animal Crossing New Horizons video. Today we are taking a look at 12 new screenshots from the recent gameplay previews of the game, so without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. So we are literally 3 days away now from finally being able to play Animal Crossing New Horizons. It's pretty exciting, and thankfully it will be here before we know it. In the meantime, we are going over 12 new screenshots and just talking a bit about each one, maybe do a brief analysis and just highlight some of the key features and details shown. There are a whole bunch of these screenshots available now since large news outlets have been reviewing the game, but these are some of my favourites and ones that may be more interesting than others. Some of the screenshots will reveal things we already know, but there are a few showing off never before seen gameplay or details, so stick around for those. Number 1. Here we have the almost chaotic living space inside the player's house. It's clearly the second or third upgrade because there's quite a lot of space and it's pretty busy with furniture. However, the reason this is a favourite of mine is because it shows off a couple of key features. The first is that we can place items on top of fish tanks, which is really cool, so they act much more like tables and stools, and the space over them isn't wasted, which I think is a great attention to detail. The next is demonstrating being able to hang clothing and accessory items on the wall. We've been able to hang things on the wall in the past, I think even shirts and stuff like that in Happy Home Designer, but this has been expanded to include things like shoes and headwear. This screenshot shows two examples, the first being a wig I believe in the back there, and the second is the already infamous paper bag wearable accessory. As you can see, both items are displayed on a shelf of sorts and are hung on the wall. However, the most important item out of everything else displayed in this room is of course the hamster cage. This is a favourite of mine from the original and I'm super glad it's returning, it's just cool. Number 2. Next we have the player on the second cliffs, which is the third layer of the island if you include the ground as layer 1. We know from my last video that this isn't in fact the top layer. We can terraform or landscape, depending on what you prefer to call it, another cliff on top of this, however you can't climb up to it. Really, the only purpose of a third cliff to be constructed here would be to act as some sort of boundary around the edge of the cliff, which might be a nice alternative to a fence, for example. Anyway, the reason this screenshot in particular is quite interesting is because it's taken right at the point of the flower being dug up, so we get a closer look at the detail underneath, and you may recognise it looks a lot like the traditional dig spot. I just thought it was really cool. However, the thing that stands out the most to me is probably the camera angle. This is demonstrating another example of the higher elevated camera angle that is very reminiscent of the GameCube version of Animal Crossing, and it seems to be an option we can toggle at any point while playing. Number 3. Next we have a bright and colourful screenshot showing the Dodo Airlines Seaplane flying over the New Horizons island as the shadow flies through the centre of the screen there. It also reads, local time is 12:16 PM, we've got clear skies and the temperature is comfortable. So this is what we'll see as we fly over our islands or visiting others at theirs, much like the train pulling in the station in New Leaf. I love this screenshot because it's something new for Animal Crossing, but it feels like we know it so well already. Number 4. Moving on to something we've not seen much of really, and that is the mailbox. Here we get a good look at what it looks like when we open up the mailboxes outside our tents or houses. Of course, this is where all our post or mail gets dropped, and you can already tell this mail system is a huge improvement than those seen in previous games. We can hold up to 300 letters in our mailboxes, which personally I think is really handy. But we can also have the option to sort through the mail by categories. Across the top we can see all mail, which I guess is the default, but we can also look at single letters or just letters that contain items or presents, and it appears we can even favourite certain letters and just view those if we want to. And the whole thing looks super clean, so it's really awesome. Number 5. Here is another very interesting screenshot because we get to see how things will start to look once we start designing the layout of our islands. Of course, Lloyd the gyroid is returning and will be manning construction projects during their development, and here we get quite a decent look at the location of a bridge before it's built. In the past, Lloyd would just sit by the river with a tiny little fence, however the whole area is now cordoned off with Nook ink rope showing exactly where the bridge will go, which I thought was cool. Furthermore, we get to see some half-bloomed flowers, which is something entirely new to the series. Number 6. Moving on, we have a close-up screenshot showing off some dialogue just after a tool has broken. Of course, the flimsy tools and even some of the upgraded tools don't last forever, and after so much use they will in fact break. Here you can see the player acknowledging that by saying, "Oh no, it's the end of the line for my trusty shovel." We've seen this before in gameplay, so it's nothing new, but the reason this is a favourite of mine out of the new screenshots is because of the little fence in the background. Again, at this point fences are nothing new, but here it's designed in such a way that it mimics the style of the old classic town dump from the original, which is another thing I loved about the original, and I can't wait to make my own in New Horizons. But for me this screenshot is cool because it also has so much atmosphere. It's obviously raining, it's dark, but there are still shadows across the floor, and we can already tell this game is going to be so immersive. Number 7. Looking at another screenshot now showing off a letter from Static. To the lucky duck who picks this up. I was cleaning my house and found this old DIY recipe I thought up. Whoever you are, I hope you're in the mood to craft up a brainstorm. Take a chance and try it out. Now get to work, Static. The first interesting thing about this is that it's not actually a letter like you'd expect, it's actually a message or a note in a bottle, which is a feature returning to New Horizons from Wild World. Basically, bottles can wash up on the shore, which you can see if you look closely in the background there. You can see the beach, and inside the bottle contains a letter and often an item. However, in this instance it's a DIY recipe, which is the second interesting thing about this screenshot. It seems villagers will be more likely to send you recipes to craft things rather than just sending their second-hand goods, which I think is really cool, and the randomness of this mechanic will allow everyone to be crafting different things at different times. Number 8. Since we're talking about letters, we may as well quickly cover an actual letter, which comes directly from the Happy Home Academy. The Happy Home Academy, or at least the mechanic of it, has always been a thing, so it's good to see them returning, but this screenshot, despite being just a letter, also shows us what it looks like to receive an item or a gift through the mail, as noted by the present icon in the bottom right. So for those that don't know, the better we design our rooms and the nicer they look and feel, the higher we score with the Happy Home Academy, and when we reach certain scores, we'll earn prizes. So yeah, I just thought this screenshot was cool because it demonstrated those couple of things. Number 9. Moving on, we have an adorable screenshot of Daisy May. Just in case you've missed it, Daisy May is our local turnip seller and effectively in charge of the stalk market that allows us to buy and sell turnips at reduced or inflated prices. It's since been confirmed that Daisy May is Joan's granddaughter, who was the face of the original turnip mechanic. The reason this is interesting is because here you can see Daisy May talking about Joan. I think that's everything. Oh, Gram always wants me to mention the official brand name. So it's just a cute little tribute to Joan there, which I thought was nice. Number 10. Here's another new screenshot showing off Mabel in her pop-up shop outside the Resident Services Centre. As you know, until the special characters have a shop of their own, they'll often visit and try and sell things by setting up shop on the plaza area of the Resident Services. Again, nothing really new, but it's a nice screenshot because it demonstrates everything from the camera angle to what it would look like to view the items the characters have for sale when they visit. Of course, Mabel being one of the Able sisters, she's offering up a bunch of clothing items and headwear. It's been suggested it doesn't take long to unlock the actual shop buildings for things like the Able sisters, so I doubt we'll see her here too often before she has a shop of her own. Number 11. Moving on, we have a nice screenshot of the crafting catalogue in New Horizons. We've seen this before, but the reason this is an interesting screenshot is because we can see in order to craft the outdoor picnic set, we need 10 cherry blossom petals, which means we'll have to somehow find, pick up or catch falling cherry blossom before we can make this item. So it seems literally everything in this game has one use or another. Plus, who doesn't like cherry blossom? Number 12. And finally, we have a closer look at the mannequins found in the Able Sisters shop once it's unlocked and built. If you head over to the Able Sisters and walk to the left, you'll be able to check out the clothes displayed on 2 mannequins, which is really awesome. The mannequins aren't a new thing, they existed in New Leaf, but it's still cool nevertheless to discover they'll probably include unique outfits every day which we can look at. This screenshot in particular even suggests we can try things on that are displayed there, so it's pretty cool. So yeah, at this point, with so much gameplay out now and so many new screenshots, it's hard to know what's new and what's not, but those were 12 of my favourite screenshots taken from a recent gameplay preview. These images are courtesy of Nintendo World Report, and they have a whole load more on their website too, so I highly recommend checking them out. Anyway, for now, that pretty much wraps up this video. If you're an Animal Crossing fan, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any New Horizons news. Until then, I'd like to give a special thank you to this channel's Patreon supporters. You guys rock. Don't forget to head over to our Discord server too, and of course, if you got this far in the video, please comment New Horizons just to let me know you did. That would be super awesome. And please be sure to include which screenshot was your favourite and what you'll be looking forward to the most about playing this game this Friday. I'd love to know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it entertaining. Please be sure to leave a like if you did. Thanks for watching, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace.